Leda and the Swan by William Butler Yeats, 1865 to 1939. A sudden blow, the great wings beating still above the staggering girl, her thighs caressed by the dark webs, her nape caught in his bill. He holds her helpless breast upon his breast. How can those terrified vague fingers push the feathered glory from her loosening thighs? How can body laid in that white rush but feel the strange heart beating where it lies? A shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead, being so caught up, so mastered by the brute blood of the air. Did she put on his knowledge with his power before the indifferent beak could let her drop? Okay, this is a poem by William Butler Yeats. Yeats is an Irishman. He was born in Dublin. He was educated in London and in Dublin. He started publishing when in his early 20s, and he was very active in the Irish literary scene. He was instrumental in a revival of Irish poetry and Irish literature. He became a senator in the Irish Senate, and he also wrote a number of poems protesting against the nationalist movement, protesting against what they were doing. He was in favour of freedom for Ireland, but he was highly critical of the nationalist movement and what they were doing. So, what's this about? Well, this is Leda and the Swan. This is a story from Greek mythology, in which Zeus comes down in the form of a swan and seduces or rapes Leda. And from that, Leda has children. The first one she has is Helen of Troy. And then she also has twins, Castor and Pollux. Now, Pollux is the son of Zeus, but Castor is the son of her husband, Tyndareus, and she also gives birth to Clytemnestra, who was the wife of Agamemnon. Anyway, this story is there are many versions of it, and it's been depicted in art down through the centuries. I think there's even a lost Michelangelo depicting this. They don't know what happened to it. It's been probably burned or destroyed. So this is the story of the rape of Leda. A sudden blow. So we've got Leda standing there, and suddenly she is hit. The great wings beating still above the staggering girl. So this swan has come down and it's hit her, and her head is reeling and she's staggering, because a swan is a very powerful creature. Her thighs caressed by the dark webs. Well, the swan, between its digits, it has webs like a duck. It has webbed feet, and the swan is caressing, is stroking her thighs. Her nape caught in his bill. The nape of her neck, the back of her neck, has been caught in his bill, in his beak. He holds her helpless breast upon his breast. So suddenly, out of nowhere, she's hit by a tremendous blow. And then there are these great wings above her. And suddenly this swan is caressing her thighs and has taken her neck and her neck in its beak and is holding her to him. How can those terrified vague fingers push the feathered glory from her loosening thighs? So how can her terrified fingers push this away? So she's terrified. How can her fingers push away the feathered glory? So the feathered glory, this is the swan, but it's in Jupiter or Zeus in the form of the swan. She has no chance to push this away, and her thighs are loosening. So this is suggesting that she stops resisting. She stops resisting the rape. And how can body laid in that white rush but feel the strange heart beating where it lies? And how can her body, completely covered by that white swan, this white thing that suddenly appeared, how can it not feel the heart of this deity who has come to rape her? A shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead. So a shudder in the loins. This is saying that Zeus reaches orgasm inside her, and this shudder, this tremble in his and her hips, gives birth to, engenders, causes there the broken wall. So this rape gives birth to Helen of Troy, and it also gives birth to Clytemnestra. And this engenders, it causes the broken wall, the burning roof and tower. So it causes the sack of Troy, because Helen of Troy is stolen and taken to Troy, and finally the walls of Troy are burnt, and Troy is sacked, and the city of Troy is burned, and the roofs are burning, and the tower. And Agamemnon dead. This Agamemnon, this refers to Clytemnestra, who was the wife of Agamemnon. And she actually murdered Agamemnon. So she came from this as well. And therefore, this rape, it gives birth to the sack of Troy. It gives birth to the death of Agamemnon. Being so caught up, so mastered by the brute blood of the air. So I think this is saying that history is caught up in this rape, in this act of control, that the blood brute of the air, that Zeus in the form of the swan commits, the blood brute of the air. And then we have a little aside at the bottom. Did she put on his knowledge with his power before the indifferent beak could let her drop? So, did she take the knowledge, did she take the power of Zeus while he was raping her? Did she take his knowledge and power before the indifferent beak, the beak is the bill of the swan, could let her drop? So before the swan had finished with her, did she absorb the power and knowledge of the king of the gods? Who knows? Yeah. So the indifferent beak, the uncaring Zeus. So was she imbued with the power and knowledge of Zeus or not before he had finished with her? So enough. This is the story of Leda and the Swan. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Leda and the Swan by William Butler Yeats.